Welcome to our daily message from our divine compassionate guides. As always, thank you so much for joining me. My intention is to help heal and serve you in the most divine way with the message. And my purpose is to live, speak, and seek the truth in all forms, and to help reconnect humanity to the highest forms of authenticity. So you are aware of where my intention lies, as I'm here to seek the truth in all its forms. So let's dive into our message for today. I am pulling from the Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. So let's find out what our guides have for us for this beautiful day. So our first card, the Great Mother. Surrender to the mystery, fall into her arms. The second card for today, the Second Bloom. A second chance, it's never too late, new possibilities. And the last card for this reading, the Sacred Waters, nourishment, replenishment, health, rest, self-care. Wow. So take a moment, take a deep breath in, let yourself get centered, and let's dive into each of the cards today and put this message together. So we start on to the left with the Great Mother. So the Great Mother ushered you in when you took your first breath, and she'll be here when you draw your last. She knows how challenging life on earth can be, that at times being human can be painful, lonely, and confusing, that the polarity of separation can be difficult when your soul remembers the oneness of Source. But at the same time, it can be incredibly glorious and sweet. So really, to summarize this one up, this life is but a single breath in the inextinguishable existence of your experience as a soul. We are being guided in this first card to hand over our worries, hurts, sorrows, fears, doubts, and give them to the Great Mother. Return to the sureness of the soil. Fall fully into her arms, surrender to the mystery woven through all of it. This is here to remember that while these extremes are difficult, because we do have extremes in this existence, this is not an easy existence, because many of us do remember or have this internal feeling of how things used to flow before we came here. And this is really remembering that this is a duality world. And so, we're sometimes flowing, sometimes it feels like it's not so much. And so we are here to remember that the extremes are difficult, but they can also be magnificent, and that the unrestrained joy is closer to grief than we think. And perhaps the more wildly the pendulum of our life swings, the more you can say, I've truly lived. So having these extremes, whether it's personally or we're seeing it on the world stage, which is really reflecting, like all of this chaos is reflecting probably at every stage of our lives. When we start fixing ourselves, then they start to reflect different in every stage. And right now we are being guided that to trust divine God, the mystery of life, the divine mother, that this is part of this plan, part of this existence. It's not always supposed to be easy. It is this balance. And that like they said here, the unrestrained joy is closer to grief than we think. These bipolar things are actually just all meant to be part of this experience. And then if we jump into the next part of our message here with the second blossom, the second bloom, a second chance, it's never too late, new possibilities. So this one, of course, is just talking about new beginnings, regenerations, reinventing ourselves here. It's never too late to surrender to what's blooming within you. And that all that matters is that you surrender to the buds that are longing to grow and be known. No matter your age or what has previously occurred, this card is an invitation to surrender to the second bloom, to welcome the new and share it with the world. So clearly here, we're first being told with the mother and with the Great Mother is that we need to surrender, and that this back and forth and all these things that we're going through, maybe not to fight them so much. Some of this is just part of living in this reality. And then here we're getting a second chance. So if we are trying to change, the more open we are to change, the more open we are to life. Because I feel like this is what the mother is saying. Don't fear what's happening. Surrender to the bouncing back and forth as we're going through, just like we pulled a few days ago, that we are still, or even yesterday, was it yesterday? I know I've pulled it a few times. We are still going through this change. So this is part of making this change easier, is surrendering to the Divine Mother, knowing that we're being fully surrendered, we're being supported through this process, and we are coming to a second bloom. So the more we're open to these changes instead of fighting them, so as we see the things that no longer serve us falling away, the more open we are to life, and the more open we are to begin being born again anew into this new reality, because we're going to have to function differently as we go into this new reality. Going through the same old isn't going to cut it. So we're now blooming and changing through that. And yes, this is what it's meant to truly live. Being open to saying yes to life. And when you eventually take your last breath, you do so while still fully living. So this is telling us that we're not giving up yet. Don't give up. Nothing is worth it giving up. We're still living this beautiful life, and we're going into that second blooming, this new age. And then as we jump into the last part of our message here, the sacred waters, that's our nourishment, replenishment, health, rest, and self-care. This one is really reminding us that you're being called to nourish and replenish yourself before you become too brittle and parched, because we're going through a lot of change. So we need to surrender that we trust the Mother, God, our divine guides, compassionate guides are supporting us, and that we are going through a second change. And this change, the more we're willing to be open to it versus fighting it, the easier it's going to be. But we also have to remember to take care of ourselves. That's what I really feel like this is. Being able to nourish and replenish ourselves before we become too brittle or parched. The Mother of the Sacred Waters wants you to know that there's nothing more important in life than the care for your own sacred vessel of the body, because you are a nobody if you don't have a body, right? Sorry, as I run into I apologize to making that a little blurry by running into it. Earth is an extension of that Earth wants us to know that we treat ourselves with tender care, to cherish our body and hers, that our Mother Earth, nature, the Great Mother, it's all connected. To fill your well until it spills over, and once it does, to find a way to give back from a place of plenty, and to give your body what it's yearning for most before it turns into urgent need. So we're really just being reminded to take care of ourselves through this change. And when we take care of ourselves to the full extent, we will then be able to help others as we're going through this change. Because there is a lot of us that are being called to help at this time. And helping is going to really consist of us taking care of ourselves so we can assist everybody else, because we're all going through this. We're just more aware of what is happening, and we can go through this probably a little bit easier, and with the supports of knowing, first off, that we've got Divine Mother, Great Mother, the energies, God, the compassionate guides behind us. They're telling us to surrender to the mystery. They've got our back, and that we are going into a change. And with this change, it's going to be easier if we can let go of those things that we're really attached to. So I've brought this up before. Maybe it's systems. Maybe we're really attached to government payments that we receive. Maybe we're really attached to using the schooling system. Maybe we're really attached to the healthcare system. Part of this is going to be that these type of things aren't going to be around. And the more willing we are to go and get on the bandwagon with the change, starting to choose to turn away from these things, the easier it's going to be. It's not going to be easy though, because any change is going to be difficult. So through it, we have to remember to take care of ourselves, because this change is going to be intense, but we need to fill our waters, take care of ourselves, and whatever that means, whether that means taking long baths, meditating, quiet time, walks, anything that soothes you, any type of connection. Chanting, I find for myself, is wonderful. That's a great way to get yourself into that beautiful, peaceful state and healing. So there's lots of different things you can do. So use that as a reminder. We need to fill ourselves up before we can help anybody else. It's just like when you're on a plane and they tell you to put the mask on first before you can assist somebody else. That's exactly what we're being told. Put our masks on first, get the life support system in place that we're going to be okay and have the oxygen we need. And then once we're good, we can then come and assist everybody else through these changes. I'm really struggling running into my tripod today. Anyways, that is our message. We've got divinity supporting us, the consciousness, God, whatever you resonate is there. Allow ourselves to be supported by it. Be okay for this second blooming. This change that is coming, the more open we are to it, the easier it's going to be. But don't forget to take care of yourselves and don't let yourself be drained, because you won't be of any good to anybody else if we aren't taking care of ourselves and being at that peak, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. That's our message for today. As always, I really do intend that this will help heal and serve you in the most divine way. Until tomorrow, namaste.